right, welcome everybody to another episode of Head Head Sports. I'm your host Brian Parker, along with my co-host Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
Man, I thought I wasn't gonna make it today. It's one of them days. One
Oh
of them
yeah.
days.
Mhm.
Man, I was on the other side of town, had got called out at work, the regular 9 to 5, 8 to 5, whatever. Sometimes with myself being a social worker, it's 8 to 6 or 8 to 7.
Yeah.
Today was one of those days. So just
Goodness.
got finished with a late home visit. Rolling through town trying to get here on time. Needed to stop by Mickey D's to get the daughter something to eat right quick, but
Oh yeah.
I'm here, I'm present and accounted for.
All right. That's a hey. We glad to have you, brother. We're glad to have you. Welcome everybody for tuning in. We are streaming live and direct on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. You can always catch us on YouTube on Empower TV Network. CJ Jones, what's going on, CJ? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Also, Jermaine Parker tuning in too. Looks like CJ is joining us from YouTube. So thanks a lot, CJ, for that. Always like, share, and most importantly, subscribe as we're always trying to drive more and more listeners to our YouTube channel. And the analytics over the last couple of weeks have been absolutely awesome. I do see where people either watch the show live or they're finding it organically on YouTube and actually tuning in and watching it on during times even when the show is not airing live, and we definitely appreciate that. We bring this to you every single week. It's a free subscription all the way around, whether it's on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and YouTube. But like I said, to keep it that way, what we always ask you guys to do is just like, share, and subscribe so that we can keep it going and everything. This is our fourth season on Head to Head Sports. And yeah, we're going to be here for the next couple of months breaking down the NFL games that have happened and the ones that are coming up the following week and everything. And we just concluded with week one of the NFL. And I must say, it definitely didn't disappoint. There were definitely some flops, but there were also a couple of wins that it was pretty extraordinary. Some really good games, which is probably why I'm now 1-2 in our water cooler Mount Prime Time. I took some chances. Uh, they didn't work out. I bet against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I didn't bet against Patrick Mahomes, and that came back to bite me. And I just did not see the Cowboys doing what they did, the Big Blue, on Thursday. But I mean, on Sunday night. But we'll get into that in a second. But Rand, I think without any further ado, I think the biggest story by far was Monday Night Football. Four
Absolutely.
snaps, 4 snaps into the game, Aaron Rodgers goes down and is revealed the next day that it was indeed his Achilles, and it's going to put him on IR for the rest of the season. Now the reins get handed back to Zach Wilson, the erratic third-year quarterback out of BYU, who is now going to have to. I heard Marcus Spears this morning on First Take say that he felt really bad for the kid, and I felt the same way because I was like, the Jets had all these expectations. They were on Hard Knocks. It was playoffs or bust, damn near Super Bowl or bust. All the fans are just geared up about the Jets and everything. And 4 snaps into the game, it's all gone. And now you're the quarterback that has to take over and try to carry on the hype. That's not a lot. That's a lot to ask out of a kid that has been erratic at best for the time that he's been in New York, and that's a big market, and they expect a lot of big things, and they thought they were really getting it, and now they're going to get a lot more of the same. Even though by far receiving core has gotten better, by far, Brees Hall looks like he's 100% recovered. Now you mixing him in the backfield with Dalvin Cook. The whole question is going to be, what is Robert Sala going to let Zach Wilson do? Is he going to go Trent Dilferish and try to let him be more of a game manager, basically keep the ball out of harm's way. I don't really see how you do that with the Garrett Wilson on your team, knowing that you got to get the ball down the field to him some. Um, Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall back there. I know they're going to lean heavily on their run game, but it will be interesting over the next couple of weeks, Rand, to really see how much they let Zach Wilson really run that offense versus just kind of be a caretaker.
That is the ultimate gut punch. If I've ever seen a gut punch, that might be like top one or two of me watching the game. You
Yeah,
think about the hype that this team went through all summer long as soon as they got Aaron. You look at all the other pieces. This defense is outstanding.
yeah,
It is right up there with the 49ers defense. The defense is outstanding. And you saw what happened to the Bills with that defense on
yeah.
Monday night.
Ask Josh
Um,
Allen.
they have all kinds of weapons at wide receiver. They have a two running back threat, a lethal 1-2 punch at running back.
Yeah.
The only thing that they were missing was a quarterback.
Mhm.
With Aaron there, the Jets' expectations were minimum AFC championship game. Minimum. Now those
Yeah.
aspirations have been just dramatically reduced. I feel so bad for Jets fans. I don't know what to do because I couldn't like even fathom the fact. Just think about it this way: we're
Mhm.
all geared up and set for the Panther season, right? I mean,
Mm.
you're a Panther fan. They're my number two team.
Yeah.
Think about Bryce Young going down on the fourth play of the game and being out for the season.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And our aspirations were only playoffs with Bryce Young.
Right.
The Jets' aspirations were AFC Championship and maybe even Super Bowl. It's
Mhm.
the ultimate gut punch, man. And you saw all of the wind in that stadium on Monday night just go out like a balloon.
Yeah. Yeah.
People left. People
Yeah.
left.
They
So
did. Yeah. I
you're
mean,
asking what are they going to do now with Zach at the helm? They're not going to, in my opinion, make the playoffs. I don't see it.
Jermaine Parker says if Young went down, we might get a taller quarterback in his place. Oh, Jermaine, don't you worry. I'm about to go all in on the Panthers in like 2 seconds. Because yeah, that was some bull crap. But again, it was more of what I expected, to be honest. But yeah, so Aaron is gone. The whole idea was for Zach to be able to learn from him over the next 2 years or so to see if he's going to be ready to take over a team, excuse me, especially in that market with that kind of pressure. New York is not a place everybody can play. Aaron Rodgers is that kind of cat where, yeah, he could play in that kind of market, Rand. I really believe. But that market isn't cut for everybody. Daniel Jones has found out very hard that that's a hard market to play in. Anthony says rumors are Jets are trying to trade for Washington backup quarterback. Who's their backup? Because I know Taylor Heineke. I heard Taylor Heineke be mentioned a few times, but I believe he's in Atlanta behind Desmond Ritter right now, and they may want to hold on to Taylor just in case Ritter is who I think he is. Um,
He
even though
certainly appeared to be.
even though Carolina didn't fully expose him, they did a little bit. I think Taylor Heineke's um, value in Atlanta is probably creeping up. You got to have a good backup. So if Washington is potentially giving up their backup, it can't really be anybody that was worth crap. Because you definitely want to have a good backup. And even though Sam Howell did a decent job, I would still say you want to have a good backup behind Sam Howell. Um, just saying. I've been hearing other names, but Randy, you think they should at least bring in a veteran to be there in the event that Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett is always the guy, and I would wonder why Washington would want to give up Jacoby Brissett because he's been proven to be a capable backup when called upon. And I don't know why Ron Rivera would be willing to do that because then it would leave him in a position of not having a quality backup. Quality quarterback backups are tremendous. If you can get you one, I mean, that's why Huntley in Baltimore won't even touch the market because Harbaugh ain't playing that. It's just not going to happen. You'll never see. I don't think you'll see Tyler Huntley unless he just prices himself out. He's a good backup, but if you give me a good trade, bye bye. Okay, Anthony, but what would the trade be? You're not going to get a backup quarterback in his place. So who are you going to give? If you're going to give up Jacoby Brissett, who's your backup to Sam Howell, who's going to be your backup?
And what are you really going to get for Jacoby Brissett?
Right. I mean, what, a 6th-round draft pick?
Right. Is it worth it? In my eyes, it's not worth it.
Yeah, because I mean, you're saying, well, I don't know if I really need home insurance, draft picks, and alignment. Can any of them back up Sam Howell if he gets hit and goes down? I hear you. Are draft picks and alignment maybe, but are draft picks going to help you this season?
No, they're not.
I mean, we are. I mean, hell, you only one game into the season. You done gave up already. If we talking about draft picks in the second week of the season, and we giving up on this season, like, I mean, alignment always can help you. If you're even talking about a starting one, and that's kind of crazy too. But I hear what you're saying, but there is a value to a backup quarterback. And Jacoby Brissett, listen, there's a reason that he's been a backup and he's been a journeyman, but he constantly keeps getting picked up. We the next Arizona, LOL, just kidding. He might be, maybe. I hope not. God knows I hope not. But yeah, they need to get somebody. I've heard rumors about Colin Taylor Heineke, or I even heard one about Colin Kaepernick. Guys, it's been 7 years. It ain't gonna happen.
I don't know why every time a quarterback goes down, somebody screams Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Young. What's up, Ryan? First session of
What's up, Young?
First session of head to head I've caught this year. I wish y'all the best and appreciate everything you do and done to make and maintain this community. Hey, brother, we appreciate that. Absolutely. Glad you're able to join in and everything. Oh God, Anthony. Anthony says you can get Carson Wentz or Colt McCoy.
Look, I'm gonna stop all this, man. It's gonna be the Zach show, okay? It's gonna be the Zach show.
It's gonna be the Zach show.
It's gonna be the Zach show. It's not like Zach was some 4th-round quarterback. They invested high in Zach Wilson too, right?
Yeah.
I believe he was taken number 2 overall.
Number 2 overall.
So they're gonna find out what this kid has got, and they're gonna find out right now this year. This is why he was drafted. It's gonna be the Wilson show from here on out. They might get a backup to back him up. If I was the GM, I would definitely do that. But it's not gonna be any high price, high value backup.
No, not at all.
It's gonna be somebody just probably with less skills than Zach Wilson.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a Colt McCoy, I mean, he just got cut by Arizona. That I could see that. Carson Wentz, I think, has run out of options in the NFL just because Carson Wentz couldn't stick if he had Gorilla Glue on his backside. He just couldn't stick to anything. But Colt McCoy has actually proven more to be a reliable backup in the league. He did an admirable job. They just went with Dobbs out of Cleveland to replace him and start for Arizona. While Kyler is out in Arizona, but I don't see the Carson Wentz thing. I mean, hell, if you looking at Carson Wentz, you might as well go ahead and get Cam Newton. It didn't matter where you were drafted at. Look at Trey Lance. Look at Trey Lance.
It absolutely matters where you are drafted when it comes to quarterbacks. Absolutely.
Trey Lance is behind Cooper Rush. So, and how long was San Francisco willing to try that project. They traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance, and instead of acknowledging the fact earlier that he was a bust, they basically it took the last person in the NFL draft, Brock Purdy, to outplay him to the point that you had to just basically acknowledge the truth. It took all of that for them to come to that. There's nobody that's going to come into New York and dethrone Zach Wilson that same way. I don't see that. You will get those instances from time to time. Trey Lance is an outlier of the fact that you overplayed your hand to begin with. There was nothing that should have ever made them think that he was worth giving up 3 first-round picks to begin with.
No, not at all. He did not have the body of work for that in college.
No, not at all. I mean, that would be almost as crazy as somebody picking Sam Howell as the 4th overall pick in their fantasy draft. I mean, nobody would do that. And nobody would go, well, just because they did that, man, he must have some really good value. No, you're delusional. I'm about to say risk. You're a delusional Commanders fan. Ryan says, I still think San Francisco fumbled by taking a project quarterback during a clear Super Bowl opinion. Kyle Shanahan's own ego and belief he could mold Trey in time to achieve their goals was a little misplaced. Oh, Super Bowl window.
I completely agree with that.
100%.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
100. I think he went Bill Belichick and believed his own press clippings that, and I mean, he does have a good track record with being able to take any quarterback, put him on the team, and they just keep it going. I mean, when Jimmy went down, Brock stepped in and kept it going like it never happened. So I mean, he does have a pretty good track record with quarterbacks, but those quarterbacks fit that system. There was not enough body of work on Trey to really even figure out if he would fit into that system. They just wanted somebody they thought they could move on from Jimmy G. And Jimmy proved to them, hey, y'all about had me on the trading block and everything, and it was good that you held on to me because when your plan A didn't work and I was plan B and came in, I did a pretty good job until I, got hurt like we knew I would. But he played great until the time he got hurt. Then they brought in Brock. Brock played great until, he got hurt at the very end. So, and then he came back on a faster timeline and act like nothing ever happened and picked up right where he left off. And that's why he started. And that's why he had a great week 1 for those San Francisco 49ers.
Can we not talk about that, please?
Oh, damn. Oh, I'm sorry.
Those wounds are fresh.
I forgot it was against the Steelers that he played so well against. Woo!
I'm just kidding. I know we have to discuss it, but
yeah, I have a funny story about that too because it was hilarious. Matter of fact, I'll just tell you now. I was after the Panthers game because I didn't even watch the last 5 minutes. I was just like, okay, F this, let me go drive. So I was driving. And I was at a light in Concord, right across from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And there was a guy in a car next to me, had on a Steelers jersey. And I looked at him, he looked at me, and I just did like this. And the funny thing was, he looked at me, he did the same. He knew exactly what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I'm dead. This dude knew exactly because I guess he could tell I knew he was wearing a Steelers jersey because I was like,
dude, hey. I'm telling you, I knew San Francisco was good, but my God, man, I've never seen my defense just carved up.
I mean, when I saw C-Mac presumably get bottled up near the line of scrimmage, somehow bounce his way out and skirt along the sidelines for a 65-yard run, I was like, that's it. Good night. Like, oh God, this is gonna be brutal.
Yeah.
Oh God Almighty. But yeah. But to put a bow on the Jets, to be determined. We'll definitely see in the immediate future, though, it will be the Zach Wilson show. And this team's success really ultimately is going to be on how he produces. He did have a couple of nice throws in the game. But you can really say the MVP of that game was by far Josh
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen definitely gave that game away. I had previously said that Buffalo's window has potentially closed on the AFC East, and not because they lost this game, but because of some of the other things that I saw with this team. If you ask me to take Buffalo or Miami right now, I'd take Miami.
Absolutely.
After I saw what Tua, thank you very much, because I had Tua on my fantasy. Now I started A-Rod on my Red Roof fantasy team, so I lost because of that. But on my um Facebook Kings fantasy, Tua helped me out because he took damn near 500 yards. Plus, I had Tyreek Hill and Waddle on that on that team too. So
Yeah,
appreciate
man. It seems to me, I agree with you on the Josh Allen deal. I think that he's reached his peak, man, and he's now starting to trickle back down.
it. Yeah,
And the Bills team as a whole have
yeah,
reached their peak, and they're going to start trickling back down.
yeah.
They should have won that game, is all I could say. But when you have a quarterback that's giving the game away in that fashion, it's hard to win. It is
Well,
hard to win.
I was going to say any team that has to try to overcome that many turnovers isn't going to be bound to win that game, and that takes me right into my Carolina Panthers.
Let's
Um,
discuss them.
because that's exactly what happened. They constantly shot themselves in the foot. I will say this about Atlanta. Bijan Robinson, y'all
The
got a
truth.
damn beast.
The
Y'all
truth.
got a beast.
The truth.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Look like Derrick Henry's son out there. It
Yes.
didn't matter how many guys tried to grab this dude. It took more than one, sometimes more than two, sometimes more than three dudes to bring that horse down. Oh my God. That
Yeah,
is
man.
a grown man.
Yep. It kind of felt like back in the day when you're a Panther fan and Michael Vick gets the ball in open field, how you kind of hold your breath
Yeah.
when he has the ball. It kind of felt like that when Bijan got the ball and started
Yeah.
cutting around that edge. You're like,
Yeah,
oh my God, somebody grab him, please.
and he's really good with this change of direction. Um, and he's really good for just running over tackle and going north to south without any east-west change either. He's hard. He runs hard. He runs angry. Um,
Yes.
oh my, and if he gets a full head of steam on you, you need to make a business decision. Do I need
Yes.
to really tackle this dude with everything I got? Or do I just need to throw a little arm out there and make coach believe I tried? You need to make a business decision with that dude. That is a grown man.
Well, I could tell you the touchdown reception that he had. Frankie Louvu went out there like he was going to take his head off, and all Frankie Louvu got was a face full of turf and some skid marks.
Sure did. I saw Frankie Louvo put a nice hit on who did he run up on as soon as he caught that ball on the side? It was one of the receivers, but he smacked him good. But he couldn't do that with Robinson.
Yeah.
Anthony says, I'm still surprised Lions didn't use Gibbs more. He was breaking tackles too. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll get to that too, because that was that first game of the week with Gibbs. You're right. Gibbs surprised me. He's a grown man too.
He
But
is.
but the other thing that I noticed in the game, Bryce Young got baited twice. Same play, same safety. Stepped up, baited him into making that throw. And people can say whatever they want, and it could just be my bias against short quarterbacks. I don't think a taller quarterback would have seen that. I mean, would have. I believe a taller quarterback would have seen that. Would have been able to read that. When you're that short, yeah. If people are kind of because he was kind of in his blind side, but what you cannot do, Brand, as a quarterback is lock your eyes on who you're throwing the ball to like that.
Right. So what happened with that one is, well, actually, what happened with both of them It was just a really, really good play by the safety, Jesse. I'm forgetting his name. But Bryce read the X's and O's and did not read his eyes.
Right.
According to the X's and O's, and he said this in interviews, the safety was not supposed to be there.
Right.
But because that safety knew that we don't have a deep threat right now,
Yeah.
he has no reason to be deep. So he just played up in the box.
Right.
And therefore, those passes that would have been complete had the safety not been there were right to the safety.
Right.
So brilliant play on the safety's part.
If it was a play where he was throwing a guy open in his normal run, that would have been one thing. But when you're actually having to go through your progressions and now try to find a guy, now that safety has the ability to follow your eyes. Like you said, DJ Shark was out because of injury. Knowing that you're not going to have a deep threat, he knows that you're going to have to go across the middle of the field. You've been doing it all game.
Yeah.
Whether it was to your tight end, whether it was to your receivers. Mingo was dropping balls running along the edges anyway. So they knew that you weren't really going to improvise that part. His biggest safety valve is the middle of the field. But that safety can get real nasty on you right there because, like you said, he knows he doesn't have to back up. He can kind of just play that middle. He knows the linebackers are going to step up, so that middle of the field is going to be golden for you. So,
yeah, Jesse Bates. Thank you, Anthony. I didn't want to keep on calling him that safety because he's definitely a name in this league. But,
yeah, definitely.
Bates just made two brilliant plays by kind of baiting him into throwing those passes. Yeah. And like I said, Young read the X's and O's and did not read his eyes. Welcome to the NFL. You're going to see more of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a copycat league.
They got to get him on more rollouts and stuff like that. I saw some nice things from him, but I think he could be a little bit more dangerous. They got to give him some more rollouts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I will say the concern going into the game was the offensive line. And other than Kwanu getting a really bad false start at the wrong time, and he jumped bad. But other than that, the line actually did pretty well. I saw Chuba Hubbard really getting some really, really good downhill runs. Miles Sanders got some really good runs. So I saw some good things from the team. But when you have two quarterback interceptions like that, it's hard to overcome that and win a game. It just is. In this league, it is hard to overcome turnovers. That's what Josh Allen's whole thing was on Monday night was that they couldn't overcome Josh Allen. And for the Panthers, they could not overcome the turnovers from Bryce Young. Miles Sanders had an untimely fumble. When they first ruled it down by contact and I saw the replay, I said, oh, no, that's coming back. I was like, as much of a fan as I am, I'm like, that was clearly coming out before he hit the ground. So,
you gave the kudos to the offensive line, and I completely agree with that. Them boys played their tails off, opening up monstrous holes. Yeah. I like what we saw from both of the running backs. Here's the bad news. Brady Christensen out for the year.
Out for the year.
When it rains, it pours, man.
It does. So we'll see what this makeshift line is going to be. But this is kind of more of the same where they had so many different changes in their offensive line last year. Getting consistency from that line when it's like that is very, very hard. So we'll see. One of the first things I did see in that game, I saw, and he won't say it and he won't admit it, but if anybody thought that Brian Burns didn't come out there to make a statement, you are out of your rabbit mind. Brian Burns on the first couple of plays made sure that you understood you can pay me now or you can pay me later. But if you pay me later, it's going to be more. And if Brian Burns keep turning out games like he did on Sunday, every game going to drive that price up even more, Carolina. Y'all need to stop playing and sign this dude because he is that dude. Sign him.
Yeah, they need to go ahead and get this done. I'm not behind the scenes, so I don't know what the holdup is, but both sides need to go ahead and get this done.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously want to be there. He didn't take Bro didn't take no plays off. He was a disruptor out on that field. He was. You had to account for him if you were the other team. You had to know where Brian Burns was at all times. Because if you didn't, you were going to F around and find out. Because he made sure that you knew where he was at. Brian Burns is that dude. Pay him. Pay him, Carolina.
You better pay him. And all of a sudden, this Monday night game with the Saints becomes a must-win in my eyes.
Oh, it's crucial because the other three NFC South teams won, including your Baker Mayfield-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes, and you cannot start off the season 0-2 and also 0-2 in your own division.
Right, because those games count more. You already are the last place team in your division just because everybody else won and one of them beat you. But when you get beat by a divisional team, that's like an extra game.
Yes. Yeah.
It's an extra game.
Yeah.
So now you've dug yourself into a hole. One that you can dig yourself out of, because I believe as the season goes, we'll really, really see what Atlanta is. We'll really, really see if Baker Mayfield can continue what he did, because he started very slow on Sunday, and I didn't expect it to get any better, and it did. But he started very slow. So we'll see if he'll be able to do that. I don't believe so.
No, we've seen this movie before.
We have, and we'll see what Derek Carr really is. But Derek Carr is always that dude that will give you great yardage numbers from 20 to 20. It's just getting it into the end zone without throwing it to the other team. So we'll see about that. And then, like I said, we'll see if Desmond Ridder is really going to be that dude in Atlanta. That offensive line did not protect him worth a crap. Most of the time he ran, it was because he was running for his life. Every time he looked up, there was a big Carolina defender coming in on him hot. And he did everything he could to escape. But he took some bad sacks, bro. He took some bad sacks.
Yeah. At one point, that dude had like 8 completions for about 40 yards.
Yeah.
That's not going to win you football games. No. I mean, it beat the freaking Panthers, but that's not going to win you football games with consistency.
It's
Tyler Heineke.
Warm up, bro. Warm up.
Warm up, brother. Warm up.
And I think Tyler will be able to get Kyle Pitts the ball. The other thing is that, and I know teams are putting in coverages to keep the ball away from Kyle Pitts and Drake London. But man, Kyle has just not been performing well. And I just think it's really quarterback just can't get him the ball.
I mean,
some of it is defense, but a lot of it is quarterback just can't get him the ball. You're wasting this dude. Anthony says, you think the Panthers have a chance against the Saints defense? Yes.
I'm going to say hopefully, yes. I'm going to hope that we get our deep threat back. It looks like he's going to play, and I hope that changes some things. But I'm worried defensively. I could go ahead and say that because now that J.C. Horn is out of the game, which I feared would happen at some point during the season. Now we have C.J. Henderson stepping up to start at the other corner position. And that is a PI waiting to happen. Yep. That is a roast or a toast situation waiting to happen.
I was surprised Atlanta waited so long to expose him. When they finally did, Kyle Pitts exposed him very nicely.
Yep. A pass interference. Every time the ball is in the air and it's a bomb situation, it's either going to be a pass interference or he's burned every single time, man. I do not understand what the Panthers see in C.J. Henderson.
Oh, he got pictures of Tepper doing something.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, he caught him doing something.
Yeah. Like every preseason, this guy gets so much praise, and then the season rolls around, and all I see is pass interference.
Right. Anytime you hear his name, it's normally with a yellow flag attached to it.
Yeah.
That is the truth. That is the truth. All right. Well, our first game last week was the Detroit Lions playing the Kansas City Chiefs. And Rand, I'm going to tell you, even without Travis Kelce, the way those Lions came out there and gave Kansas City pure D hell, they made sure that win, lose, or draw, y'all gonna know that y'all played the Detroit Lions this game. That was the whole thing. We gonna give you everything we got. Jared Goff came out there 22 of 35, 253 yards. David Montgomery was just wearing them out, even with short yardage, but he had 21 carries, 74 yards in the score, and he just kept going on and on and on. They talked about Jamar Gibbs, 7 rushes for 42 yards, but he also caught 2 passes as well. He was into that offense. St. Brown, 6 receptions, 71 yards. Josh Reynolds, 80 yards receiving. So it was a very balanced attack. Goff did exactly what he needed to do. Kept the ball out of harm's way. No picks in that game. He played very well. He really did.
Yeah, and you mentioned a bunch of offensive players, but let me go to the other side of the ball.
Definitely.
Aiden Hutchinson was wearing Kansas City's tackles out.
Yes,
he destroyed their tackles and guards. If he lined up against a guard, it was game over. But the tackles were really struggling to keep him out the backfield all game long.
He got a lot of hits on Mahomes, even when he had already gotten the ball out. He got a lot of hits on him. I haven't seen nobody get to Mahomes like that so much, but Aiden Hutchinson made sure that you knew he was on that field that night. He was all over the place. Anthony says, but let's be real. Did the Lions really win, or did they have help? Okay, that is fair. And trust me, I said after the game that just as much as Josh Allen was the MVP in Monday night's game, Kadarius Toney definitely was the MVP in that game there. Bro, I see why the Giants did not cry or plead with him to leave. Bye-bye. Gotta go. See you when I see you. That was absolutely – I don't even understand how he's still on the team after that. That was way too many drops.
Kadarius hands are stony.
Oh, my gosh. Bro, that was absolutely ridiculous how many times he was targeted and dropped the ball.
Yeah, man. The game the last drive that the Chiefs had, in which they were driving to win the game, and they threw across the not the middle, but I threw on the right side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
He was wide open.
Right in his hand.
When he dropped that, it changed the entire game.
Sure, yeah.
Because Kansas City kept getting penalties and things of that nature that pushed them out of field goal range. But that should have been a drive that was continuing on through about the 25, 20-yard line and probably would have wrapped that game up. All he had to do was come down with it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, Anthony, your point is well taken. I totally agree with you. But that's why I said, though, Detroit still played them very tough.
Oh yeah,
I didn't expect them to necessarily win the game, but as physical as they are, I expected, even if Kansas City won that game, for them to go, "Hey, we earned that game." Kadarius just made it easier for them to win it, but I really felt like that Detroit was going to give them a hell of a game, and they really did. With Toney without Kelsey being there, all of that being said, they played a heck of a game.
All props to Detroit, man. I'm not saying anything taken away from them at all. You got to look at the entire history of the Lions organization. We're talking about a team that ain't had a playoff win in probably 20-some years, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you saw the Lions even on primetime TV?
First game of the season.
First game of the season.
A lot of times you would see them on the Thanksgiving game.
Oh, yeah, they get the Thanksgiving game. Right. But how many primetime games do the Lions get?
Right.
They got the national stage on opening night in the NFL, and they came through. That was a big, big win and a big step forward for that whole organization.
Yeah.
I think Campbell is changing things.
I'm going to tell you what. If that team continues to play like that, they got the NFC North.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
I mean,
yep.
After what I saw from Minnesota and Chicago, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. And we'll see if Jordan Love is really that dude. But what I saw out of Minnesota, okay, one game, I get it. And what I saw out of Chicago, yeah, Detroit came out firing on all cylinders. They weren't playing; they came there to play.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're gonna be something to be reckoned with. And like I said, Jared Goff has matured in that offense and with that team, definitely uh, distancing himself from what folks had typecast him out in LA that he was. Even though I do remind people that he did get the team to a Super Bowl, they just felt like he couldn't be the one to help win. Um, but you're seeing more and more and more. Sometimes it just really depends on who's coaching you up and stuff like that. Because it seems like everybody that Dan Campbell gets a hold of, man, he turns them out. So good
Yeah,
job
man.
all around for that team. Great
In the
game,
same
great opening.
in the same manner that I'm all of a sudden a Colorado football fan in the
What?
NCAA football, they're my second team now. The Detroit Lions could be my third team in the NFL. I'm
Okay.
pulling for 'em. I'm
Nice.
pulling for 'em.
Nice. So, Rand, God knows. Okay, listen, Cowboy fans. Y'all had a good win. What you did to the Giants was absolutely amazing. I will not take that away from you at all. But I want to remind you, Cowboy fans, of one thing. That happened on Sunday, September the 10th. Okay. The Super Bowl ain't till February. Most of the time, your season is over in December. So it was one game. You beat the brakes off the Giants. I mean, they should be banned from the NFL. Trust me. But it was one game. Let's see you keep it up. But the fact that y'all, after that game, talking about, y'all see that?
Dude, I don't know why we have to keep having this conversation.
Why do y'all do
After
this
year.
Groundhog Day every year? Y'all see that?
Y'all know how this ends, man.
Right.
I don't understand it. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. I saw the same thing on Facebook. Cowboy fans raising flags, dude. Raising flags.
I'm like, okay, listen.
I don't understand. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Your quarterback was 13 of 24 for 143 yards. I understand he didn't have to do a lot because you were already beating the brakes off of the Giants. I get that. And Jermaine says, didn't we talk about this last season for the first couple of years? Yes.
Every year. Every year they do the same thing. They get a win and they hold a parade.
Oh my God. Boy, yeah, go ahead. In the words of Denny Green, God rest his soul, you want to crown him? Crown him. Oh, and Rand Anthony also said, here we go, Colorado fans coming out of nowhere.
Oh, you damn real. You damn straight. Oh, you got a Colorado fan right here in Charlotte, North Carolina that ain't never stepped foot on the university. But I'm here. Prime University fan all the way.
Anthony, that ain't no different than people becoming Miami Heat fans because LeBron was on the team. Then they go back to Cleveland. Now they root for Cleveland. Then they go to LA and they root for LA. So, but now at least this one is a little bit more rooted in the fact that, hey, we rooting for Prime and what he's trying to do as he moves to a different school and trying to break the stigma that, okay, you won on the HBCU level. Now what you're going to do in the FCS. So now he's in that and he's taking a team that won all of one game last year. And all of a sudden now they're 2-0. His son, the quarterback, is already now starting to be put in Heisman talks because of the way he's playing.
Yeah, sometimes situations are bigger than just the sports or the games themselves.
Absolutely.
We talking about Black culture right now, and I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm just proud of what's going on at Colorado University right now, in the same manner that we were all proud back in the day when the Fab Five were doing what they were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and the words of Denny Green, God rest his soul, you want to crown him? Crown him. Yeah, how many people started? That was a culture change. How many
Yes,
kids you started
absolutely.
wearing baggy shorts and everybody trying to be C-Web and Jalen and Jawan and Jimmy? Yeah, everybody was doing that. Or when
Yeah,
UNLV bust out on the scene with Larry Johnson and Stacey Augman and Greg Anthony. Remember them boys? Oh, they
yeah,
was
man.
boy.
Yeah,
Everybody wanted to be UNLV.
them 5 inner city kids can't get to no Final Four. Well, they showed them. They
Yeah,
showed them.
they
And a
sure
lot of
did.
things have been said about the Colorado Buffaloes in the same manner, but they're
True.
being proven wrong, man.
Hmm.
So yeah, hell yeah, I'm Colorado fan out of the blue all of a sudden, all the way,
All the
especially after what he did to Rule
Matt Rule's
last
Nebraska
Saturday.
team. Yeah, yeah, that
Woo.
was. Yeah, you know, they were like every Carolina Panthers fan is going to definitely be rooting for Colorado last Saturday, and I think they were. I think they
No
were,
doubt.
no doubt, because it was more of the same. Like, hey, hey, Nebraska, we've seen this before. We know what's going to happen, but we're going to let y'all find out since you done had to pay him. So, yeah, find out that way. Matt Rule is is uh, is like Kirk Cousins. He gets these great contracts, man. He falls into these great contracts. Kirk Cousins kept getting franchised, getting all that money and stuff like that, getting all that money. Matt Rule got 6 years, what, $60 million out of the Panthers. Then goes to Nebraska. I'm pretty sure they didn't have to give him as much once he got a job and with the contract and stuff. But just to give a guy that ain't never coached an NFL game before $60 million off the gate was just crazy to begin with. But now
Yeah, dude,
find out.
dude is a timeshare salesman, man.
He is. He is.
Yes,
It looked good.
yeah,
Wow. Boy, that looks great. Then you get it and you go, God, what did I get myself into?
exactly.
And you know, when you get in a timeshare, it's easy to get into. It's hard to get out of it.
It's expensive to get out. He's a timeshare salesman.
So that's a great analogy. But yeah, so Cowboy fans, let's just keep it real. Your defense looked absolutely great. Your offense, well, we'll see a little bit. Uh, Tony Pollard, yeah, 14 rushes, 70 yards, 2 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 4 receptions, 77 yards. Again, I get it. They didn't have to do a whole lot because your defense had already put them in a really, really good position. But I still expect to see Dak do more than 13 of 24 completions. That ain't going to get it in some other games where the defense may be decent, but not as dominant as they were in that New York Giants game. And if you think that that defense is going to look like that week in and week out, you are out of your mind. They played out of their minds because the Giants just looked so discombobulated. Um, but I'm not giving y'all credit. I'm just saying temper down your expectations. Some teams freak out after week one, and some of them, like Cowboy fans, get too full of themselves after week one. You got 16 to go. Just kind of keep that in perspective. You could go 1-16. You
Yeah,
probably won't, but you could. So don't get caught up in this one win, Cowboy fan. I'm just doing that as a public service announcement. You had a good game. Move on to the next game. You're probably going to win that game because I believe that one's against the Jets. Is that right?
probably.
I,
You know,
I believe that is the truth. That is absolutely true. Sunday afternoon football, 4 o'clock. They do play the Jets in Dallas. So
yeah.
there you go. You should.
Cowboy fans, we are acknowledging your W. Yes, you could celebrate your win, but we just want to be your gravity, just a little bit of gravity, bringing you back down to earth just a little bit. You did not win a Super Bowl. You're not going to put no flag up for that victory in the stands. You don't get no kind of trophy for that victory, man. You got more work to do, and that's all what we're saying.
That's
These
it.
fans, man, are just they're trip. They're trip.
Anthony says, "Yeah, let's slow down the Lamar Jackson MVP talk. He played like trash."
I wasn't talking about it.
Okay, well, I tell you what. Let's go into the Ravens game because the Ravens did play the Texans, and they did win. They found a way to win a ugly 25-9 game. And as he says, Lamar 17 to 22, 169 yards and a pick. CJ Stroud, he lost 28 of 44, 242 yards. No picks, no touchdown pass. Look, I'm on record, so is Rand, and we said last year, don't get that man that money. Don't do it. Don't do it. Franchise him. If he don't come, start Tyler Huntley. I'm first one to say that. Let him pull a Le'Veon if you want to. Go ahead. The league is unforgiving. It will pass you by. You can become irrelevant. I don't care how good you were, real quick. Because the next newest, latest, and greatest is always coming out of college, right around the corner to take your spot. You think you can sit out a season and it not affect your value? Try it. Try it. There's plenty of former MVPs. Carson Wentz didn't get one. He was on his way to. Cam Newton definitely did. And I'm sorry, what team is he on? So yeah, the league can pass you by real quick. It really can. So yeah, but I would not have given him that money to put up the trash that he put up. I totally agree with you, Anthony. That it was laughable, but sometimes I laugh to say you get what you got because you didn't really have to do that. Nobody put that gun to your head but you.
Yeah.
Not Lamar and not his mama. Because
we had a lot of people.
They had a gun, but it wasn't even loaded.
Yeah. Had a lot of people on the water cooler site fighting for Lamar's money. Go ahead and pay him the money. He deserves the money. He's been past MVP of the league. He's done this. He's done that the whole time. And I will continue to stick to my guns on this. I would not have paid him the amount of money that he got, nor given him the amount of guaranteed money that he got either. Not to mention what he wanted, which was just astronomical. But I would not even paid him what he got from Buffalo.
Right.
I mean, from Baltimore.
Fully guaranteed. It was just crazy to begin with. You want fully guaranteed, and you went 17 to 22 for 169 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick.
I ought to let that dude walk all day long.
He didn't even rush for one. He's 6 rushes for 38 yards. He didn't even run for a touchdown.
Yeah.
He ain't, and he's not going to run for a touchdown because he got his money. Y'all figure it out. That was crazy. So yeah, they did beat the Texans. The Texans do have a lot of upside to build off of. This is not going to be a year where they win a lot of games, but it's going to be a year to really get CJ Stroud some time behind center, try him out in different ways, continue to build the team around him and everything. D'Amico Ryans is going to be very patient. The organization signed D'Amico Ryans to a contract that shows that they're willing to be a little bit patient as well. So they're just looking for opportunities to improve week in and week out. This is just an extension of the offseason for them. I hate to say it that way, but it really is a way for them to really be able to see what they got in their young quarterback. And he had some really good flashes. Of course, he's going to make some rookie mistakes, but out of a lot of the rookies that played this weekend outside of Anthony Richardson, his stats were really, really good. Outside of
I thought so too.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty good.
He didn't have no picks either. He didn't have no picks either.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. He went up against probably the best defense of all the rookies. He had to face Baltimore.
Right.
So, yeah, I was impressed by what he did as well. And you talk about his best receiving weapon being Robert Woods. I thought he did an outstanding job against Baltimore. We'll see how he does going forth, but I thought he outplayed Bryce Young, man. I really did. So,
hands down. Yeah. I thought he was a lot more decisive with the ball, where he wanted to go with the ball, throwing to his receivers open and everything. I mean, I saw no problem. I saw something to build off of. Absolutely with him. And Anthony says that CJ, he believes in CJ Stroud. He just needs a better lineman to protect him, and they're gonna figure that out. They're gonna get a good core lineman around him, so he doesn't have to do so much with his legs. But it's good that he can move around for the time being, so he can get himself out of harm's way if and when necessary. So definitely encouraged by that. Something I wasn't encouraged by, and they're gonna have to clean this up real fast. You know, we talked about the AFC North being basically handed to the Cincinnati Bengals, and I didn't see the Bengals this past Sunday. I saw the Bungles.
What the hell was that?
I kept trying to refresh my ESPN update because I'm like, how is Joe Burrow stuck on 54 yards passing?
I
Like,
did the same. I'm like,
like,
what is going on? It's like, why are they not scoring?
right. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I had to keep looking. I said, did he get hurt? Because it was stuck on it for so long. The only time I see that is when somebody then got taken out of the game for a while. He under the blue tent, something like that. You know, and they done brought in the other guy, and that guy isn't really doing anything anymore because he's not on the field. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. I got Jamar Chase in my fantasy, and it says they're on the field now, but he ain't catching no balls. What's going on? So
Yeah,
Jamar
that
Chase
was a
only had
strange.
39 yards. Burrow threw the ball 31 times for all of 82 yards.
It's crazy.
What?
I'm like, was the weather bad? It's like I'm just checking all these things and trying to make excuses for him, and I'm
So
like,
the weather was bad, but somehow Deshaun Watson got 154 yards, which he ain't lighting it up either. I agree, Anthony. I agree. But if he was that hurt, he shouldn't have been in the game.
yeah, man.
Anthony says, I think Joe Burrow's still hurt with the calf. I totally agree with that. Should
Yeah,
not
he has to be. He
should not
has
have
to be.
played. Shouldn't have played. And I know that's a team call, but I mean, you got beat 24-3. So, prove what I said is wrong, Cincinnati. I know he's your franchise guy. Listen, you just signed him to a hell of an extension. You don't need him to be if he ain't right, don't play him and ruin the rest of your time with him because you're trying to win a game with him where if you had a competent backup, they probably would have done better than getting you 3 points.
Yeah,
82
that was
yards on
terrible.
31 attempts, and he only converted 14 of them. Less than 50%. Joe Burrow?
Yeah, complete trash game, man. I still don't understand that one. I didn't watch it. I'm not gonna watch it, but
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna watch it either.
I would need to watch it to understand what the hell was happening in Cleveland.
Yeah, that was I was just like, I can't believe it. And the Browns were just doing just enough to win the game. They really did. They did what they had to do. They move on. Um, I would hope that this is more of an anomaly than something that's going to continue to linger on, but time will tell. We will see sooner than later when it comes to that. Uh, the Jaguars played the Colts, and they earned that win because the Colts gave them all they had. The rookie Anthony Richardson came out, ran 24 of 37. Who said this man can't pass? They let him air it out 37 times. We knew he was going to run, and there were going to be some limited playbook options for him and stuff like that. But my God, you let him throw the ball 37 times, and he hit 24 of them. That's
Yeah,
pretty
man. I gotta eat a little bit of humble pie on that one.
24 37, 223 yards. Pass for a touchdown. He did have an interception, but then he also ran for that. It was almost like a kind of quarterback draw or delay, but it just opened up and he went in, and it looked like the one guy that might have tried to stop him made a business decision and said, you know what, young fella, you can have it. He saw all of that. He saw all of that coming
Yeah.
at him, and he's like, nah. I was like, yeah, bro, you did the right thing. Let him
He
get it.
also led his team in rushing. Nobody else on that team had any kind of traction as far as running the ball, but he
Yeah,
at least got 40 yards and a touchdown. So he did that well too.
he sure did. He sure. I mean, it wasn't even close. The second guy only had 14 yards rushing, so he You had some other guys with some 30 yards in and of itself too. So a decent job for a guy that didn't play that many games at Florida and gets thrown into the starting quarterback position as a high draft pick. Um, Most people would tell you that he's very raw and he's not polished, but 24-37 is a very, very good opening day number for an unpolished, raw rookie quarterback in his first NFL game. So kudos to you, Anthony Richardson. Yes, the Jaguars won the game. Sunshine came out with a pretty good game, too. He also completed 24 passes off of 32 attempts, so not bad either. 241 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Etienne looks like he's back as well. 18 runs for 77 yards and a touchdown. So they definitely Jacksonville is definitely going to be the team to beat in their conference. But Indianapolis, same kind of like I see with Houston. They're in that year where they're really going to be able to kind of build around their quarterback and see what it is that they have. As long as their quarterbacks stay healthy, the future is bright for both of those organizations, Rand.
Oh yeah, props out to Calvin Ridley too. Missed all of last year due to
Yep.
gambling. And first game back, gets 100-yard receiving day and a touchdown.
Yeah, he was
Hats
burning
off
it
to
up.
him. Yep.
He was burning it up. I kept hearing his name. And then also it seems like Jonathan Taylor looks like he may be ready to come back.
Yeah, this will be week number 2 of the pup list. I think he has to complete 4 of those.
Yeah, 2 more weeks after that.
So got some time left. I don't know what's going to happen as far as him being traded or will he play for them. Nobody knows that right now. We'll just have to wait and see for that one.
Definitely. Yeah, so that was a pretty good game too. It was a high scoring game going back and forth. Another high scoring game going back and forth. Fran, was the Dolphins Chargers game. Man, this game was going all over the place. I told everybody, look, I know Tua got hurt last year, the concussions and everything else. I felt like he was going to be able to shake that off, even to the point, like I said, I drafted him. And he did not disappoint. 28 of 45. 466 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. And the main recipient of those 466 yards, 215 to the Cheetah.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Cheetah stats and Jalen Waddle as well.
Right.
Every time them boys caught a pass, it was for 20 yards upon average.
19 and a half. Both of them averaged 19 and a half.
God almighty, man.
That's a fifth of the football field.
Just chunks.
Oh my God! Between the both of them, that's 293 yards that they got.
That's what you call a quarterback just lighting a team up.
Lighting them up.
Just lighting them up.
It was absolutely crazy. Every time my phone just kept going off. Tua. I'm like, what's Tua doing? How many yards? What? Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's why, just saying, in that fantasy league, I scored the most points, last week.
I bet.
That's in our league. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was crazy. So yeah, Tua put on a show, showed no signs of any concussions or lingering effects, showed that he could get the ball out quick, made a lot of decisive things. Now people will say, well, Brian, he's throwing to the Cheetah, he's throwing to Jalen Waddle. Yeah, but you still got to be able to be on time and accurate with them. So even though you got those guys, it still has a lot to do with who's behind center. It's not just saying, well, I'll just throw it as hard and long as I can, and Tyreek will come down with it. It doesn't quite work that way.
No, the defense gets paid too.
Exactly. And they tried as hard as they could to make sure that didn't happen. But Tyreek just kept catching balls. Even their go-ahead score where Tyreek caught that ball over the shoulder to seal the game was just amazing. And their defense did just enough at the end to stop Justin Herbert from leading a late fourth quarter score. So they did everything that they were supposed to do. Justin Herbert, 23 of 33, 229, 1 touchdown, no picks. Eckler rushed for 117 yards. So, I mean, he was able to, carve out that Miami run defense a little bit too. But actually, they did pretty well because also Josh Kelly rushed for 91 yards as well. So between him and Eckler, they had over 200 yards rushing on the ground. So that was pretty big. It was
Yeah,
it was a high scoring game. They were going back and forth the whole time, and
yeah,
it really came down to whoever had the whoever had the ball last was going to win that game.
I'm still stuck on what Tua did, man.
Yeah.
I'm reading these stats. Tyreek Hill, 19 per reception. Jalen Waddle, 19 per reception. Durham Smythe, 14 per reception. Braxton Berrios, 14 per reception. River Carcroft, 13 per reception. You got even Alec Ingold, 17 per reception.
Yeah.
That is just carving a team up and taking massive
somebody
chunks
saying
out of
that I'm not going for intermediate passing. He went deep. He just kept going deep. Absolutely. I know it was insane. I was just like, this dude ain't playing. Tua came back in his first game and said, I'm going to show y'all that my arm strength is there. I'm going to show you my accuracy is there, and we're going to light it up. And I'm not, and even though Waddle and Hill benefited from most of it, there were 6 other receivers outside of them that caught the ball.
Yeah.
Anthony says Hill leads the NFL with 215 yards. The next person is Jefferson at 150. Just think if Hill gets over 180 in every game. Oh, God.
I'd be setting a record.
Well, I mean, I would love that because he's on my fantasy team, him and Waddle. And that means that, and since Tua's on my fantasy team, that means that would be a great thing because I get it on both ends. So, yeah, I'm all for 180 a game. More of that, please. I mean, because you can't sit there and double team either side. You got Waddle on one side, you got Hill on the other side. Who are you double teaming? Who are you going to put your third corner on?
It don't even matter, apparently, if you double team the cheetah because he's still tearing you apart.
Because they tried in some instances, and he still burned them. He's not human, y'all. If you want to put somebody on the cheetah, you better go get somebody that ain't from this planet.
Yeah, and the Chargers ain't got no trash secondary, not no trash defense either. They're good.
No, they got burnt. Honestly, they sure did. So yeah, definitely was a hell of a game by the Miami Dolphins. That was an electrifying game. It was really, really good. I saw a funny meme that was a transfer of Aaron Rodgers' ownership of the Chicago Bears to Jordan Love.
Yo, that's cold, man.
The internet is undefeated. I will say that. I read that and I'm like, wow.
But I did watch that game, and Love answered a lot of questions for me, man. And other thing that I did see, we have to pat ourselves on the back for this one as well. I know I definitely said that the weapons in Chicago that they traded for and everything like that, as far as wide receivers, were not going to work out. They certainly did not work out game one. Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. So you're lying for Jordan Love, who is in his 19th season backing up Aaron Rodgers and now starting. I'm just kidding, not 19. But he was 15 to 27, 245 yards, 3 touchdowns, and most importantly, no interceptions at all.
Very good game.
Running game was decent. Aaron Jones, 41 yards, was the leading rusher. But Aaron Jones also had 86 receiving yards, 86 yards off of 2 catches, actually. That's crazy.
Yeah. He got free for like a 50-yard reception and then another 30-yarder.
Yeah. So, but I mean, again, he had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different receivers. So great job there. When you look at the Bears, Justin Fields, I mean, he threw 37 times, hit 24. That's not bad. 216 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. It's just, again, who is he throwing to? He led the team in rushing with 59 yards rushing. The closest rusher, Khalil Herbert, only had 27 yards rushing.
Yeah, and I could say that because I watched the game. A lot of those yards that Fields got were in prevent defense, and they were just really giving it to him to run the clock out.
Right.
He did not play well at all.
Right.
And I really can't blame them because the weapons that they went and got for him, DJ Moore, I always felt DJ Moore was a little overvalued in Carolina. Bears fans, you're now finding out.
Two
Chase
receptions for
Claypool.
25 yards.
Yep. Chase
Right.
Claypool. Y'all traded with my Steelers to bring Claypool to you. You're now finding out that what I knew all along.
Yeah, he had 0 receptions for 0 yards.
Yes.
Ugh. Wow. Yeah, that says a lot. So, but yeah, you're right. We basically saw that offense did not really do anything to improve the weapons that Justin Fields would have. And if he's going to have any success, it's going to be because of his legs and just making plays when and wherever he can.
Yeah. Looks like another long year in Chicago. I thought they would be a little better this year, but from what I saw on Sunday, it looks like the same old Chicago Bears.
Same old Chicago. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we had also the Broncos and the Raiders, and people can say whatever they want about Jimmy G, but he just wins. I mean, and Russell Wilson actually looked pretty good for a lot of the game. I mean, he was going and going and going. 2 touchdowns, 27 to 34, only 177 yards. Jimmy G, 20 of 26, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 pick. Josh Jacobs returned back to the lineup. He ran for 48 yards. Javonte Williams on the Denver side ran for 52 yards. It was an interesting game. It was a 1-point game, low-scoring game by NFL standards this day and age, 17 to 16. But it was just one of those games where it just kind of came down to the team that had the ball last, made the fewest mistakes at the end. Jimmy G, again, first game out as a Raider, got him the first win after the Derek Carr era came to an end. So there they go again.
Jimmy G. You get just like Jimmy G is like one or two quarterbacks. You either get the very efficient game manager, or you get the one that just makes a ton of mistakes and cost you the game. The Raiders got the good Jimmy G for this game.
They did.
Yeah, we'll see how he goes, how he does moving forward.
What's up, Mr. Joe Lowry? Well, and they better watch it sooner than later because, as we know about Jimmy G, he only got about 4 more games in him before he pulls a hamstring. So, better catch that real quick. But yeah, even matter of fact, I didn't see how Devontae Adams did. 6 receptions for 66 yards, no touchdowns. So, definitely not the yardage that he had been getting with Derek Carr. But one thing Jimmy G did do is he spread the ball out to 7 different receivers. So he got more people involved instead of just locking in on one receiver like Derek Carr was prone to do with Devontae Adams. And a lot of times meant throwing into sometimes triple coverage, if not double coverage. And the biggest thing that a quarterback can do is protect the ball and make sure that they're not putting it in harm's way a lot of times. But the thing about Derek Carr is he's a very risk it, no biscuit kind of quarterback. So we definitely know that about him. Broncos, like I said, Russell Wilson, 27, 34, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's got to get more yardage involved in that offense. I know they want to run the ball, but they only ran for 93 yards as a team. Now, Russ did have a lot of receivers. I'm counting about 11 different receivers. So that is good. They just didn't get a lot of yards after catch or any yards average off of it. The highest one that I can see is 15 and a half. But most of the other guys were in the single digits when it comes to average yards per reception.
Yeah, I'm still not impressed with Russ, man. I mean, first game out against a poor Raiders defense and you lose to them. and you only pass for 170 yards. It's like it looks like a lot of the same rust to me from last year.
Yeah, it does. Hopefully, they can continue to build and do something with that. But I was really, really disappointed. I thought Sean Payton was going to come in and just have them boys firing and blazing and stuff. And, not really. Not at
No.
all. Not really. Not at all. Well, we also had the LA Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. The Rams beat them 30-13. We saw Matt Stafford come back with a heck of a game, 24-38 for 334 yards. No touchdowns, no interceptions. So 30 points. How did they get those 30 points? Kyron Williams, you mentioned him before, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Cam Akers had another touchdown on the ground. Well, that's only 3. So that's 21 points. So there had to be a defensive touchdown as well, which I don't see which one that was. Or was it a kick return? They scored another way. Maybe it was 2 field goals or something, or 3 field goals. That might have been the other points. But he didn't throw any touchdowns at all. But he did spread it out to a couple of receivers. Van Jefferson did get in the mix, only with 24 yards. But you had somebody named Puka Nakua, 10 receptions for 119. And then, not to be outdone, Tutu Atwell, 6 receptions for also 119 yards. So between the two of them, they had 228 of the 334 yards that Stafford had.
Yeah, man. This game was crazy surprising to me, right? Because me being the fantasy football genius that I thought I was, I went out and I jumped all over the Seattle Seahawks defense because I'm thinking, oh yeah, no Cooper Kupp. That's his main go-to toy. Stafford just coming back from injury game 1. The Seahawks should just shut the Rams down on this day. Not at all. Not at all.
Nope.
Put up 30 points on them.
They did. Geno did not have his game. 16-26, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. He just did not get it done passing the ball. DK Metcalf led the team 3 receptions for 47 yards. So just not a whole lot. I mean, if he had 47, then you can imagine. Tyler Lockett, 2 receptions for 10 yards. Tyler Lockett. So, yeah, that was just a really bad game all the way around for the Seahawks. Hopefully,
I'm sure you saw the clip where Geno Smith dropped back and Aaron Donald had a free run at him, right?
I did.
Oh my God!
Right. Business decisions.
Right.
Go to the ground. Go to the ground. Curl up like a little baby. Go to the ground. Well, Ram, we got only a few minutes left. Any games coming up this week that you got an eye on? I know we didn't talk about the San Fran-Pittsburgh game. I spared you on that one.
Yeah, definitely got Monday night. We have a doubleheader. Both the Panthers and the Steelers at the same time in prime time. So, I'll be flipping back and forth with that one. Both of those games, in my eyes, are must-win situations already this young into the season. Like I said, the Cats cannot start off the season with 2 divisional losses, and Pittsburgh needs to redeem themselves from the embarrassment that San Francisco gave to them on their own home field. So, these are 2 games of note for me that I'll definitely be watching.
And both of these will be home games for
both of them are home games. They need to both defend home turf in prime time.
Yeah, that's the only thing that scares me about the Panthers game is that their record in prime time is abysmal. It seems like when they turn on those lights at Bank of America Stadium, they get real bright and they get real hot down on that field, and players start to do things that they don't ordinarily do. So hopefully this is a game. I know they gave us this Monday night game because of Bryce Young and wanting to be able to see what he does, but I hope that he doesn't put more pressure on himself in this game than he has to. And I hope Frank Wright comes out with more than the vanilla offense. Even with DJ Chark shelved last week, I felt like the offense was still too bland.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
I mean, you got to go out there and put some exotic stuff in there. You've got 2 tight end sets. I didn't see Ian Thomas or Tommy Tremble any part of that offense at all. Makes no sense that you have 3 catching tight ends and the only one that could catch the ball was Hayden Hurst.
You got to at least take some shots downfield, even if they don't work out.
And when he finally did it to try to loosen it up, it was because they were already 2 touchdowns behind. Yeah. You need to do that earlier in the game. Start taking some shots. I didn't know the kid could throw more than 10 yards.
Yeah.
Then he aired it out. And I'm like, okay. And then he aired it out and it wasn't Mingo, was it? Yeah, it was Mingo that pulled up. If he kept running, he would have caught it in stride and it would have been a touchdown. I don't know why he pulled up.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Bryce threw to where he was supposed to be, and he could have been there if he hadn't pulled up. So anyway, like I said, they gotta redeem themselves. I'm gonna be watching a couple of different games. I want to see what the Ravens and the Bengals do at 1:00 on Sunday. I need to see what Joe Burrow is gonna do. Is he gonna humble Lamar Jackson? I'm hoping. That should be a good game there. The Lions are at home to the Seahawks. See if Geno can shake some of that off. But if not, that's going to be a long day for the Seattle Seahawks. You've got the Jaguars playing host to the Chiefs. Going to see if the Chiefs have any lingering effects from their loss. They've had 10 days to recuperate from it, from the Detroit game, and we'll see how that also plays too, Rand. I hadn't heard if Kelsey's going to be back for that game, but that could be a shootout. That could be a high-scoring game. The way that they're going.
Kelsey better be back. He's on my fantasy squad. Damn it! Mm-hmm. I'm already dealing with injury at the very start of the season. Can't even get on the field, and I got to make adjustments to my fantasy lineup.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I was trying to see if there was any other one. You got early 49ers and the Rams on Sunday as well. That's going to be interesting. We'll see how that one goes too. But yeah, it's going to be some good games coming up. The Giants look like they got a win out in Arizona. Maybe they should be able to wipe the stench of that Cowboys loss off of them. That Sunday night game is going to be the Patriots and the Dolphins. Mac Jones. Well, that's going to be a long night. That's going to be a long night, bro. Do you know what the cheetah is going to do to the Patriots?
Hide the women children.
That is absolutely right. I don't know what games y'all going to be watching, but those are just some of the ones that I got. I'm definitely going to be watching that Sunday Night Football because I'm going to get a laugh out of watching Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill just run all over New England like that. That is just going to be like murder. But it's going to be crazy. Rand, I hope your Steelers come through. They can really only go up.
Thank you, man. I've had a miserable week.
Oh, I bet. All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for tuning in for another week. We will do this again next Wednesday. Hopefully, we don't get any more quarterbacks to go down, so we don't have to bring up Colin Kaepernick, Carson Wentz, and Colt McCoy. If we can do that, then we'll have a good week. But either way, y'all stay safe. Happy fantasy football, and we'll see y'all again next week. Y'all take care.